to keep our muscles strong around our bones. Vitamin D helps us to absorb that calcium. There's also phosphorus and potassium and magnesium as well to help out with our bone health. So lots of good stuff in dairy, and making sure that we get in those 3 servings of dairy every day to make sure we're maintaining that.
Yeah, and especially I know as you get older with bone loss and other things like that, having that dairy can really go a long ways towards really helping just kind of stabilize and hopefully sustain the life and health of your bones as well.
You're absolutely right. And I always refer to osteoporosis as the pediatric or kid disease that has repercussions whenever people are older in the geriatric population. So it's so important for the kids to be getting in that calcium so that their bones get nice and strong so that they don't have deterioration later in life, and can maintain healthy lives with healthy bones their whole life.
Now, when I was a kid, my mom used to make me take some calcium, make sure that I always had to take it every or almost every day. I felt like I was taking calcium. Calcium, obviously, not just for kids, super important as an adult as well.
It is. It sure is. And calcium is a major building block of the skeleton. It accounts for about 99%. There's 99% of the calcium found in the body resides in the bone. So whenever we're not giving our body the calcium it needs, our body starts to take it away from the bones, which weakens them. That's not what we want. So it's really important to keep tapped up on calcium in whatever way possible. Also, protein and vitamin D are super important too for preserving that bone mass. Getting in that protein and then that vitamin D helps the calcium to absorb into the body and into the bones as well for renewal and mineralization of those bones to keep them nice and strong.
Yeah, and I tell you what, it's nice. It's nice to have something that you need to take that also tastes good as well. Like a lot of times, I think we think of if it's something like that, though, it's probably not going to taste that good. But dairy be pretty tasty.
Yes, there is that fact as well. You just mentioned, I used to take vitamins to get my calcium in every day. It's a lot more delicious to have, a bowl of cereal in the morning to get in your calcium, but versus having to swallow a pill. So you're absolutely right. It's a
Yes.
way tastier way to get in those vitamins and minerals.
Absolutely, and that it goes a long way towards healthy living as well, which goes a long way towards that too, which is pretty cool.
Yes, absolutely.
All right. Again, we're talking to Kelsey Bentlage with the District Dairy Council, St. Louis District Dairy Council, about some of the great stuff that they have going on as far as May being Osteoporosis Awareness Month and some of the great stuff that's going on with that. And again, 1, 2, 3. That's the big focus as well. And when you look at this and you look at all the stuff that's going on with that. Uh, with dairy, what are some of the stuff that you mentioned cereal, but what are some of the other foods that you can take to help increase calcium and to increase stuff like that?
Yes. So there are so many ways that you can sneak in dairy into your diet. Like I mentioned, it could just be a bowl of cereal or a glass of milk. That's what we typically think of when we think of dairy foods. But it can be so many other ways as well, like making your oatmeal with milk instead of water, or making a yogurt smoothie with yogurt in it, or putting a slice of cheese on your turkey sandwich, using yogurt as a dip for your vegetables. I love to do that. Adding using plain yogurt and adding ranch seasoning to it. It makes a delicious dip for your vegetables. Or, it could just be that glass of warm milk before bed. There's so many ways and so many recipes out there to sneak in those 3 servings of dairy every day to keep those bones in tip top shape.
We're going to touch on it a little bit in the second half of our interview with Kelsey Bentlage. But Kelsey, tell us a little bit more about St. Louis Dairy Council. Where can people go to get more information on it, and tell me a little bit about the council?
Yeah, so on our website, sdldairycouncil.org, there is so much information on there. We actually have a bone health piece. That bone health is easy as 1, 2, 3. If you forget all the things that we talked about on the interview today, you can always go there to get that information. We have lots of good resources on there. We also have a ton of recipes. I just said that there's so many ways you can sneak dairy into your diet, and we have a ton of recipes on our website for you to try out. So make sure you check out that recipe section, and that's at www.sdldairycouncil.org.
I've really got to stop doing these shows when I'm hungry. I tell you what, all it's going to do is make me want to eat something.
I know. I think I'm ready for breakfast as well.
Yes, fantastic. I know what I'm doing after I finish up, but no, again, so important for bone health. Obviously, we can't really go too much in depth on it, but what are some of the? Do you know of any like what osteoporosis causes, like with your weakening of bones and things like that? What that can lead to?
Yeah, if you have osteoporosis, a few things can happen. So your bones can break easily is one big thing. We don't want that. That especially in the older population, that can be really not only painful, but can make them deteriorate faster if they have a bone break in old age because they can't be up and moving and doing their regular activity. So that's a really big thing. It also can cause the spine to bend and hunch over as well. So that's another thing we want to avoid with osteoporosis with old age. But yes, osteoporosis, nobody wants it. It's not ideal. We all want to have strong bones so that we can stay as active as possible throughout our whole lives. We want to stay comfortable and happy and healthy as best we can. And the best way to do it is just making sure that we get in our 3 servings a day at every stage through our life to make of dairy every day to make sure that we're staying strong and keeping those bones in tip top strengthened state.
Yeah, and with bones still growing as a child, also obviously extremely important to get those daily servings and get that intake that you need to be able to build those healthy bones.
Absolutely. Especially I said it a few times this interview. Children, it's so important for them to get their 3 servings of dairy in every day. And kids typically love their little cheese sticks or Go-Gurts or different things like that. And even their milk, they love to drink milk. So making sure that we're offering that to them and getting lots of dairy options into their life to give them the best life possible. That's our goal with children always.
Oh my gosh, my 6-year-old loves Go-Gurts. I think if I got her a trip to the Go-Gurt factory, I think she'd lose her mind. But all right,
She's gonna have very strong bones.
we're gonna talk to Kelsey here in a little bit. We got to take a little quick break, but we'll be back with a little bit more with Kelsey Bentlage with the St. Louis District Dairy Council right here on WTIM, your information station. Our live stream is sponsored by Landmark of Taylorville. We'll be right back in just a few moments right here on WTIM, your information station.
Your information station. WTIM.
All right, Kelsey, there we go. We are good to go, I think. Sorry about that. I don't know what is going on this morning. I'm trying to get back into the.
Oh my gosh, I can't imagine the interview scene. It's stressful.
I go from 2-minute interviews to 17-minute interviews.
I know.
So I apologize.
I do several different stations a month, and we bounce back and forth between long interviews and short interviews. It's so hard to adjust how long you're talking about something.
So we'll have about 6 minutes left. Is there anything else you'd like to talk about?
I could talk a little bit more about the different age groups to fill in the time.
Yeah.
And then we have a recipe of the month every month. I'll talk a little bit about that to fill up the time and all that good stuff too.
Good deal.
Yeah.
I appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem. No problem.
Luckily, I just have a best of right after this. So you're my last interview for today. So survive
And
day
it's
one.
Monday.
I know it.
It's really hard on Monday. Oh my gosh.
I went to a concert on Saturday night, and then yesterday I had to do a bunch of yard work. I watched the IndyCar race, and I got to come to work last night to write a couple stories, and I'm just like, oh my gosh, I got to be double duty for the next 2 weeks. Ugh.
Oh, that really does suck. It sucks for sure. But you'll make it. You got this.
We got it. We're all set. We're excited.
Yeah.
Just
Oh
I'm
man.
not counting down at
And
all.
I'm sure like onboarding a new person too is gonna take a little bit of adjustment too.
It's not
Unless
just
they have
get here and
experience.
start work. No, he don't have any experience, so it's going to be a little bit of a learning curve with him as well. So
Yeah, that's tough. Really tough. Especially with the technology and stuff like that. I don't know how you all like you
WTIM.
and welcome back to the WTIM Morning Show, your information station. Leroy Clamola here with you. Hope you're doing okay today. Thank you so much for taking a few minutes out of your day to talk to us about some of the great stuff going on. And joining me is Kelsey Bentlage from the St. Louis District Dairy Council to talk to us about Osteoporosis Month and some of the great stuff that they have going on. Always, I imagine every day is different, but every day is busy, Kelsey.
Oh, it is. That's for sure.
All right. So tell us a little bit. We were finishing up our conversation on 1, 2, 3 and different kinds of age groups and things like that. And I would imagine that my 17-year-old son probably needs different nutritional needs than, say, my 6-year-old.
You're absolutely right. And the amount of foods that they consume and what types of foods that they consume. But we're focusing, this month on bone health and osteoporosis. And like I said before, osteoporosis is referred to as it's the pediatric disease with geriatric consequences, which means we really have to focus on those kiddos so that they have really healthy lives whenever they're in their older years and later in life. So dairy consumption is just so important throughout the life cycle. Kids, it's even more important. It's crucial for those children and even adolescents, so your 6-year-old and your 17-year-old, to consume enough dairy. Up to 90% of bone mass is actually accumulated by the age of 18. So making sure that they're getting in all that good calcium in their younger years to achieve that peak bone mass to reduce that risk of osteoporosis later in life. But our adults and seniors need to focus on their bone health as well. So adults need to focus on that dairy consumption to make sure that they're not having any bone loss or reduced ability to replace bone tissue throughout their life. Especially around the age of 40, people kind of lose that ability to replace bone tissue. So, making sure that, if you're in your middle-aged adulthood life, to make sure that you're staying tip-top with your calcium consumption. And then seniors, of course, they have a reduced risk of falls or fractures if they have those strong bones in place. So, in order to maintain those healthy bones, they require a bit more calcium, protein, and vitamin D as well, which dairy does provide. So, It's a whole cycle thing. We have to make sure that we're getting our kiddos the calcium they need, and the older adults as well.
Yeah, and of course, being cognizant, being aware of those needs and of what you need to do can go a long ways towards keeping yourself healthy and keeping yourself safe.
It absolutely can. It's a thing that we have to think about our whole lives being healthy, and it could be really easy. Like you said before, dairy is also delicious, so we can just sneak it into our recipes or our foods throughout the day, and it can be kind of like a back of the mind thing. But knowing that every time we have dairy, we're helping out our bones as well.
Absolutely, absolutely, and to be able to promote healthy lifestyles, not just for you, but also for your family as well. If your family, I've always noticed, if your family sees you eating healthy, they tend to want to eat healthy as well, which can go a long ways towards making things a little bit better as well.
Yes, you're absolutely right. Those kiddos are watching you, and they're learning every single day. That's for sure.
All right. We got about a minute and a half left. I know that we have, I've been told by Avery that you guys have a recipe of the month. Is that correct?
Yes, every month we come up with a new dairy recipe to give out to people so that they have new ideas to stock up their kitchens with. And this month we have a overnight oats recipe. It's a berry recipe. It has yogurt and milk in it, so you're getting in two different types of dairy with this recipe. Those overnight oats are great healthy breakfast to carry you through the day because they have a ton of healthy fiber in them from the oats, and then they have tons of dairy in them as well. So good source of protein, good source of fiber that can kind of help you get to the next meal without being starving. So and it's super easy. Overnight oats, you just kind of mix it together and throw it in the fridge, and it's ready the next morning to take out the door. Which I don't know about you, but I'm a little busy in the morning time. I have a 4-month-old baby, so he can be quite a pill in the morning sometimes. So it's just easy to grab something that I can eat in the car on my way to somewhere else. So that overnight oat recipe is a really good one for that busy morning.
All right, sounds good. Well, Kelsey, thanks so much. And if I can go visit that recipe at the St. Louis District Dairy Council website, which is stlDairyCouncil.org. Kelsey, thanks so much for taking a few minutes to talk to us today. Always a pleasure to be able to talk to you about some of the great stuff that you guys have going on at the Dairy Council.
Thanks for having me. Have a great day.
All right, sounds good. Thank you so much. And we'll talk to Kelsey next month about some of the great stuff that she has going on as well.
With SRN News, I'm Rich Thomason. A Texas manhunt for Mexican national Francisco Oropeza